All right, everybody, welcome to this very exciting class where I'm going to be talking about, the law of attraction. Everybody talks about the law of attraction. This has been around for a very long time, but only recently have they called it the law of attraction. Hit the link. If you're right here live, go to the bio, hit the link. If you're in this bio, if you're watching this live on Instagram, go to the bio where you'll go to the Zoom class, and I'm going to be talking about it. So let's just say rent's due in 1 month. Your bank account is empty. There's nothing in there. And you need to pay $5,000. For this example, we're starting here. What happens when you have no money and you owe somebody $5,000? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? So this is where we're starting. This is where we're starting today. So I'm going to draw out the what can happen, right? I'm going to draw what can happen. So I'm going to take my little green pencil. I'm going to take a green pencil. I'm going to draw this out first. So I'm going to take a big circle. With this uncon. Right here we have the body. Here's the conscious mind, and here's the unconscious mind. Right? Our thoughts are first filtered in through the conscious mind. Right? So the conscious mind is going to happen. Let's just say, how do people usually feel whenever negative things start happening in their life? Worry and doubt, right? First, they're going to get worried. And then that worry is going to go into their unconscious mind, right? And they're going to begin to experience fear, right? Now, the more they hold, the more they feed and entertain this fear goes into the body and it's reflected as anxiety, right? And the more that they're entertaining this doubt of themselves, the more that it's going to be repressed, because we are naturally expressing, but having a doubt is on the side of ignorance, right? If you have anxiety, you're in ignorance. If you have fear, you're in ignorance. Ignorance just means that you don't know, what to do. So again, repressing what? The actions, right? And then we go into, from anxiety, we go into depression. And then from depression, we go into dis-ease, literal dis-ease. Disease in the terms of not in ease, and disease in the terms of I am sick. People get sick. People have issues with their body. People are trying to change their bodies and they can't change them. I recently got eczema, right? And I'll tell you a little bit about that, right? But what happened was, first, if you want to actually go into good things happening, you have to go into understanding, right? Not in ignorance, but in understanding what you actually need to do. And from understanding, you need to go into faith in the trusting of yourself, trusting in the universe, right? Because it's going to happen. You just don't know when. You just don't know when it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. And that's faith. An example of this is this guy. He's hanging on a tree branch. He's on the edge of a cliff, right? And he hears the voice of God come in, because he's like, God, please help me, I'll do anything. And then the voice of God comes in, and he's like, do you have faith? Yes, I have faith. And God's like, then let go of the branch. And the guy's like, actually, I'd rather just hold on to the branch, right? So that's a lack of faith, right? So what you're going to need faith. And once you start having faith, you start having well-being, right? In your body, if you trust, you can see somebody trusting the process. You can see somebody trusting themselves in the universe. And that happens, you have the expression, right? Expression, and not of of anger, right? Or sadness, but just a joyful expression of true love coming through you, right? That is trust. And then as soon as you start trusting and expressing, what's going to be happening is acceleration, the acceleration of the process. Everything is just going to begin to work faster and faster and faster and faster, right? You're going to begin to integrate it, right? And then you're just going to feel good, right? So like, let's give the example of like our bodies, right? So, you know, there's a time when I gained a lot of weight because I was not expressing, I was not trusting, I didn't have faith, all right? I gained a lot of weight. So what I had to do when I had to get back into the gym, which, well, I had to trust, right? I had to trust. I began eating healthy. I began making my own meals. I didn't know what what foods to eat or whatever, what meals to make, right? But I trusted that if I go into the grocery store, if something looks healthy and I put that on my body, I'm going to be healthy. If something is not so healthy, then I'm not going to be so healthy, right? That was the first trust of, it looks good, then it is good for me. That was where my faith began. And the faith was, if I stay on this path, I will look sexy. You know, I'm going to look good. I'm going to have a lot more energy, and my well-being is going to happen. And I had to trust that by being on this path, that was what's going to happen. And it is true, just by being on the path, when you think about it, if you do certain things constantly over time, it's just going to happen, right? And you know, the more, and that expression came out as being consistent. The expression of my faith in myself and God was that I began to make videos about how to get fitter, and my expression became as me be more comfortable with what I actually looked like. And my expression was seen in the way that I began to see myself as somebody that actually, you know, enjoys working out, somebody that enjoys working out and uses it therapeutically. Because before that, whenever I would force myself to go to the gym and I was not getting the results, right? I was not getting the results. I was forcing myself to go and I was not enjoying it. I didn't like it. It didn't feel good, right? And the thing is, it should feel good. It should feel good because you're doing something that's good for your body. So do you guys not find that weird when you're doing something good for your body, but people are not reacting like it's good for them, right? People are reacting negatively to things that are good for us, right? And that is a lack of faith. That is a lack of understanding. That is living in ignorance, all right? So a lot of people who study, you know, the Hermetic teachings will know this, but I'm going to go over it again. I'm going to pull up. So there are laws that are secondary laws, and there are laws that are primary laws, like first laws. The law of attraction, that's a secondary law. That's a secondary law. So I'm going to go over the primary laws, right? Number one, perpetual transmutation, right? This is that energy moves into physical form. The images that you hold in your mind most often materialize in results in your life. So what's the result of your life? Just all you got to do is just say, what is the result of my life? And that's what you're going to know, is that's the image that you're holding on. You're holding on to that image. But that's called perpetual transmutation. The image that you hold on to the longest, that is what's going to be the result in your life. All you got to do is look at the results in your life, and that will tell you what images are you holding on to, right? How do you feel about fitness? How do you feel about eating healthy, about eating clean? How do you feel about investing in yourself? How do you feel about hiring coaches? How do you feel about, your family? How do you feel about your friends? How do you feel about the material wealth? How do you feel about, the government? This is how it will be reflected in your real life, because that is the image that you're holding on to, right? The second law is the law of relativity. This says nothing is good or bad, big or small, until you realize it, until you relate it to something. Practice relating your situation to something much worse, and yours will always look good. See, when we make things bigger, we make things bigger than they are, or we make them smaller than they are, right? The reality is nothing is big and nothing is small. There's nothing that's big, there's nothing that's small. It's only big or small depending on how you're relating. You're comparing it to something else. In order for your life to seem easy, you have to be comparing it to something that's hard. For your life to be hard, you have to be comparing it to something that's easy, right? So anytime I personally go through a challenge, that for me, it might seem big. The way I'm experiencing my challenge is big. Getting up in the morning, that's a bigger challenge for me, right? So I have to put it into perspective and say, it's actually not that big, because I have to put things that are bigger in the way of it to make it seem small. And if I think it's small, well, then it's more likely to happen, right? Vibration and attraction. Everything vibrates, nothing rests. Conscious awareness of vibration is called feeling. Your thoughts control your paradigms and your vibration. When you are not feeling good, become aware of what you are thinking and then think of something pleasant, right? So this is the law of vibration and attraction. So this law basically says that nothing is ever still. Everything is literally always moving. Everything is always moving. This is proven by physics, and people were talking about this, hundreds of years ago, without physics, and now modern physics is catching up to, principles and religions. Science is barely catching up, but they've proven that everything is moving. Nothing. This hand, it's moving, right? It's moving at a particular rate. Now, one thing that I want to add is we live in an electromagnetic field, right? Everything here in this material world is in an electromagnetic frequency. So our bodies, right? This is the positive pole. You could say by your feet or by the bottom of your spine is a negative pole, right? So what is the positive side? It's going like this, right? And then it filters up from the bottom down to the top, but right? So you create your own magnetic frequency, right? So the things that are occurring in your life, the way people are talking to you, the way the universe interacts with you, the way that money interacts with you, the kind of job that you have, the kind of clothes that you're wearing, it will all change your electromagnetic field, right? You put, let's say I ate a bunch of candy, my electromagnetic field is weakened, right? And it's going to attract things that are more of that frequency, right? So if you want to attract greater things into your life, right? I mean like greater things, just total peace, total peace and safety and well-being. Like me, I know I can't get coronavirus. I know I can't 100%. It's not possible. It can't live inside my body because I strengthen my electromagnetic field every single day with my meditations, with my workouts, with my yoga, with the food that I eat, right? Because coronavirus, it's a specific frequency and I'm too high for it, right? That's the law of vibration. All right, next one, law of polarity. Everything has an opposite. No matter what, everything has an opposite. There's hot, cold, up, down, good or bad. Constantly look for the good in people and situations. When you find it, tell the person, people love compliments, and the positive idea in your mind makes you feel good. Remember, good idea, good vibration. Good idea, good vibration. Good idea, good vibration. All right. There's always an opposite. There's always an opposite, right? And now I'm going to connect this one actually with the law of cause and effect, right? No matter what, there's always a cause and an effect. Everything that you do has an effect into the world. Everything you do, everything you think has an effect, right? God can be considered as the first cause that had no effect until God decided to have an effect, right? Right? Because cause and effect, it's like a domino effect of things tumbling down. Well, let's just say God is like the first domino, and out of nowhere, just created a bunch of dominoes in front of it, and it started moving. Right? The law of rhythm, right? The tide goes up, night follows day, good times, bad times, right? When you're on a downswing, whenever I'm not feeling good, I realize that I'm about to feel really good. Like something great, I'm gonna feel great in a moment. Like I don't know when, but I know as soon as like it's just gonna. This is called the law of rhythm, right? What goes up, then eventually is gonna come back down. Right? That's just the way life moves. So you can also look at this as whatever the things that make you nervous, the things that make you anxious. Know that there's a big opportunity on the other side of it. Like the more anxious something makes you, the more nervous something makes you, the more afraid something makes you, know that there's like if you go through with that, you're gonna end up really far off on the other side. Look, hold on, I'm gonna draw this one out as well, because this will be this is very important. So let's draw a line. And I'm gonna just say like right there. Let's just say negative is positive. Okay. Okay. So here's the line, right? If let's just say there's like a little problem, well, whenever you solve it, there's gonna be a little result. A little positive result, right? Little problem, little result, little good result, right? But let's just say you solve a big problem in your life, right? Big problem, all the way up in the negative side. If you go through with it and if you push through with it, you're gonna have a big result, a huge result, a huge, tremendous result. I'm gonna show you guys over here. Big problem, big result, big change, right? So that's that law. And then the law of gender, which just says that there's a masculine and there's a feminine energy to everything. Masculine and feminine energy to everything. Everything has to click somehow, right? It has to click. Like I don't have a phone charger unless I have a phone. Both exist together, right? You don't have men without women. You don't have sun without the moon. You don't have bed without a body. Even if you're sleeping on the floor becomes your bed. So that's the law of gender, right? So then what happens now? So if you want to change something about yourself, right? Which I would 100% encourage you to change something about yourself. 100% encourage you, because humans have this need to always grow and be more and grow. Well, that's because the more that you can do, the more that you're doing God's work. The more money you make, the more you can do God's work. And that's a 100% fact. The more money you make, the more you improve yourself, the more you can do God's work. So I would highly, highly encourage you to continue to change, continue to grow, and expand. Because that is how you become more godly, by improving yourself. You become more connected to God by improving yourself, right? So what needs to happen within you is you need to begin to change the images that are coming into your mind, right? And continue to build the images, right? So a negative idea, if we get emotionally involved, right? Watch this. If you get emotionally involved with an idea, that's what's going to feed that idea. Would it be a negative or a positive? Doesn't matter. Look, people say, you got to be in abundance, you're in scarcity. Scarcity is not a real thing, guys. That's not real. You're always in abundance. There can be an abundance of fear, an abundance of AIDS, an abundance of coronavirus. You know what I mean? It's about what you're feeding. Look, you go to the ground, you look outside, there's weeds, and then there's herbs. There's weeds and there's herbs. The sun feeds them all, the water feeds them all, Mother Nature feeds them all. I mean, the ground, it's there, right? You can grow like a weed or you can grow like a herb, right? But no matter what you feed is going to grow. There's always an abundance. So that's one realization. And then add details, right? Let's just say there's a positive thing that you want to create. Add details in your mind. Continue to build the image, right? So look, it's like, so in our mind, there's like a movie being played. There's like a screen. We can literally see a screen. And you have to create a movie, create a script. So let's just say your goal, I'm going to say one major goal of mine is to reunite with my girlfriend, because she's abroad, and legal problems, stuff like that, that impede us being with each other now. So my goal is for us to be together. My intention is for us to be together. So if I entertain the idea of when am I going to see her, entertain the idea of maybe they don't let her in, if I entertain the idea of this is too hard, too difficult, then that's going to affect me, right? So I create this movie of the paper being submitted, of the judges seeing the letters, reading them, they're happy, right? They approve, right? I can see their smiles on their faces where they say, oh, you know what, these people, that's the real love, right? I see the us getting a paper that says it's ready to happen, purchasing the tickets of it happening, right? And then the flight, right? Being at the airport, seeing her, hugging her, right? Going through this whole step. Now, if you want to create, more discipline in your health routine, as I did once, you have to see yourself eating the food, see yourself enjoying the food, seeing yourself being really happy with the choices that you made, right? You have to see yourself in a particular way. See yourself enjoying, right? Recreate the image, and then bring the image and bring it into your heart. Bring it into your heart. Activate it with your heart chakra, with your love. Remember, what the images that we hold in mind, that we get emotionally involved with. If we get emotionally involved with the image in our mind, that is what's going to be integrated into our body. All right? Now, we've been trained to observe the world through our hearing, our seeing, our taste, our touch, our smell. These are our senses. These are the main senses. These are the ones that our conscious mind is aware of. The top part of the circle. So you have to see yourself enjoying it. Hear yourself enjoying it. Hear something that you would say if you enjoyed it. Hear people talking like let's say I want to be a coach. I'm a coach. I tell people, in my mind, I create the story of people congratulating me and thanking me for what I said and for what I did, which it happens all the time, but I want to hear it, right? If you want to lose weight and maintain your weight down, hear people say, wow, you look amazing. You look great. You inspire me to become a better version, right? You want to taste things in your imagination. Taste positive things in your imagination, right? You want to be able to smell. What's the smells that are going around? What are you feeling? Physically feel it in your imagination. This is what's going to integrate it, right? Now, higher faculties that we have are our perception, our will, our imagination, our memory, and our intuition. These are higher faculties. These are run by our unconscious, our conscious mind. So just take those into consideration, that you have, you can give perception to something. You can give, perspective. You can give perspective to something. What are you comparing it to, right? That's what's going to happen. You're going to compare it to something. You were always comparing it to something. Might as well compare it in a way that benefits you, right? Okay. So this is a really good one. Decision making. Everything that you do has a decision involved with it. As soon as you did it, it's because you decided it, right? You literally made a decision. There's nothing that you do that is outside of you making a decision. There is abundance in this world.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
What about people who are saying that they're bad in making decisions? People who are saying that, oh, I can't, like, I think I can't take the decision of, like, you know what I'm saying?
That is that comes from a lack of responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
A lack of, that's like, well, there's many things involved there. One thing that I do see there is fear that if I choose incorrectly, right, something bad's going to happen, right? But I'm also seeing shame, right? And the shame of, I've made bad decisions before, so I'm going to continue to make bad decisions, right? And I shouldn't decide anymore. So that shame of, I've made bad decisions, is keeping them from taking the responsibility, right? Because they're saying to themselves, I'm bad now. They're saying I'm bad because they're taking memory. They're grouping the memories together in a file in your brain. You can call it your brain. And they're associating what's going to happen in the future and in the moment based on what happened in the past, right? So they're refusing to take responsibility of shame, right? And they're not taking responsibility for themselves, for their own actions, right?
Yes, but they can, like, people, I believe that using law of attraction, people must learn how to actually not see things as making a bad decisions, because that will stop you from, like, go further. You need to, in a way, stop seeing that you've made a bad decision before,
Mm-hmm.
and hear your perception from that, like change your perception on this.
Yeah, it was not a bad decision. It was just a decision.
A decision,
Just
yes.
a decision
Mm-hmm.
that led to a specific effect,
Yeah.
right? You made the decision, there's an effect. That's the cause, that's the law of cause and effect, right? And the result that you have in your life is based on the cause that you did, and that cause created an effect,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
That's, I think that's oh, and then something that I really like is the act as if. You know, act as if it's already happened. Act as if it's already happened, right? And then give thanks. Be grateful for it happening, right? Gratitude comes from God. Like it's like very gratitude is very as a very high level of vibration. And if you have a like genuine gratitude for something, that's very godlike, right? So by becoming more godlike, you're more able to bring into the world your ideas and your vision of self. Because remember, the law of perpetual transmutation is the things that we hold into our mind eventually are gonna happen here, right? You know, they created a plane. People created a plane. Babe, can you mute your microphone?
It's not mine one.
Oh yeah.
Is it
Mom,
mine?
maybe can you mute it? There's a
Um,
microphone.
I thought I was in mute. Hold on. Okay, I'll be quiet. I'll be silent. Oh, let me do that. Your microphone is unmuted.
Thanks.
The video. How do I do this?
It's okay. It's because I was just hearing a lot of movement. But basically, it goes like this: when you're grateful, you raise your vibration, right? And it's easier to manifest what you want to bring into your world by being grateful about it, right? So if let's just say you want to make $1 million, you want to have $1 million in your bank account. You want to be, and you don't have it right now. You want to be grateful that it's going to happen. You're grateful that you're in the process of it happening, right? Because it's not just what you think, but it's about how you think about what you're thinking. How are you relating to what you are thinking about, right? And that's what's going to have the biggest effect in your life. How do you relate to the things that you want, right? What's the relativity of it? Is it big? Is it small? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it hard? Is it easy? Is it possible? Is it impossible? Is it too difficult? Is it too hard? Right? How are you relating to it? Oh, that's just not me. That's not me. I'm not like that. I've never done that before. That's how you're relating to it. Right? We have to begin to realize that, you know, especially in the moment, that we are God's highest form of creation. God's highest form of creation. And God made us so powerful that we could create whatever comes into our mind. Whatever comes into your mind, no matter what the outside world says, you can create that thing. Look, they took a plane. Guys, they created planes. They literally created airplanes. Airplanes. That's not supposed to be real. We're not supposed to be like birds. We're not supposed to fly over the ocean. That's not normal, right? But it happened because somebody held the image in their mind, right? And the image and the way they related to it was, it's possible. It's possible. Now, anytime I have a difficulty doing something, I just think like, yo, I have a phone. I can, there's a device where I can literally talk to anyone, anywhere in the world. I can receive money from anywhere in the world. I have a device that I can look up anything that I want to know. That is like impossible. That's like not supposed to be real. I have an arm. Yo, straight up, I have an arm. That's not supposed to be possible. It's a miracle to have an arm. It's a miracle to have fingers. It's a miracle that humans exist. That's not normal. It's not normal. That's a miracle, right? That's literally a miracle. I can see. Yo, I can see. You're looking at me. That's not something that's normal. That's a miracle. That's a miracle that you can see. Isn't this crazy? I'm looking. I see things. That's crazy. That's crazy, right? And you know, we have to accept the we call them the little things, right? It's not a little thing. It's really not a little thing that I'm here. It's not a little thing that you're breathing right now. It's not a little thing that your heart is literally moving. You have a thing inside of you that's pumping blood to your whole entire body. That's crazy. That's crazy. And for me, that's where real, genuine gratitude. That's where real, genuine gratitude has come into the acceptance that it's almost like life is not supposed to be here. Humans are not supposed to be here, but we're here, right? So anytime I encounter a challenge or a problem, I think to myself, wow, but I'm a human, but I'm here, but I can breathe, but I can see. These things are supposed to be impossible. This is supposed to be impossible. So for me, that's where my gratitude always comes in. So let's see, what else do I want to share with you guys? I've got some notes and stuff like that. So if you find yourself in a hole, what happens when you find yourself in a hole? Right? Because it can happen. It happens, you know, it happens. It just happens. It just happens. What happens? What do you got to do? Just stop digging. Stop digging. Just stop digging. Stop digging. Right? Like sometimes I find myself, I'll give you some examples of being in a hole. When you get on your phone and you find yourself mindlessly scrolling on social media, I find myself, you know, looking at things that, you know, genuinely don't matter, right? Another way that I find myself in the hole is talking about things and people that aren't gonna benefit the world, right? Gossiping or talking about experiences where people were mean or people were rude, or just talking about anything that's not gonna help the world. That's being in a hole, right? A lot of times people, I hear this all the time. I hear this all the time in my house. Oh, that person is so like stuck up, da 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 da. Oh, that TikTok dance, it's so dumb, da 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 da. I hate it. Stop talking about it. It doesn't actually matter. It's not gonna benefit the world, right? So I have to, you know, obviously, you know, when you point a finger at somebody, there's three pointing back at you. You know what I mean? So of course I find myself in a hole as well. So when you find yourself doing these things, be like, oh, I'm doing that. I'm doing that. When you find yourself, you know, not wanting to do something that you know is important for you, right? Stop that thought right there. Be like, I'm thinking like that. I'm literally thinking like that. I'm feeding it. I'm giving it the emotion. I'm digging. I'm digging in there, right? Stop digging. Stop digging. Anytime where you're like, oh, that's going to be too hard. You don't know that. You literally don't know that. People always say things like, at least this has happened to me where I'm like, oh man, I don't know, I like procrastinate on an essay because I'm like, it's hard, it's hard, it's hard. And my shame about it being hard, my projection, my thinking, my visualization, the image in my mind that I've created is of that thing is hard. And it just takes me, it took me a long time to get to that thing. But then once I actually did it, I did it, you know, very quickly, with ease. I did it very quickly, rapidly, like with ease. Right? But see, my projection of the image that I created in my mind and the way I felt about it in my body, right? It prevented me from doing the thing that was important for me. So those are ways that I find myself in the hole, you know, thinking that it's not possible, thinking that it's too hard, that it's difficult. And, you know, at times even, you know, I have the feeling of, you know, hate towards myself. Because I'm like, oh man, I should be better than this. I should be better than this. Right? I know I need to do it, but I don't. And sometimes I do things that, you know, stop me from moving forward. And I'm like, I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't do it. But I did it. Right? Or I'll get up and I'll look for like candy. I'll look for candy in my house. And as I'm going in the direction of that, right? I'll be like, I shouldn't be doing that. I should not be eating this. I should not be looking to fulfill myself in this way. Right? And then I'll be like, I'm accepting right now that I'm about to do something that's not so good for me, right? So it's in those moments where we're in the hole. We're in the hole of negativity, of feeding the thing that's not great for us. And that's when we need to, that's what consciousness, we can say higher levels of consciousness can be described as greater awareness, greater awareness, greater awareness, greater awareness. The higher you go, the more awareness that you have, right? The more awareness that you have. So it's you know, learning, it's something we have to learn. We have to retrain our neural pathways, right? To stop ourselves when we're in the hole, right? And then realize that we can just, like, this is actually true. You can just, you know, sort of magically disappear yourself from the pain, magically disconnect yourself from the pain, right? I first realized this when I would take cold showers, right? And cold showers were, you know, difficult for me at the time. Like I would be like, ooh, 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 you know what I mean? I'm in the fucking shower making all these weird faces and shit, right? But a mentor of mine, he told me, just feel it. He said, just feel it. And I was like, I can just feel it. I don't have to label it. I don't have to have a reaction to it. I can just feel it. So I got into the shower and I let the water, you know, hit me. And I realized that the water wasn't bad. I was only labeling it as bad because I thought I'm supposed to label it as bad. I'm supposed to label having a cold shower as bad. Society has taught us that taking a cold shower is weird, is wrong. It's weird. You're crazy if you take a cold shower, right? What's another thing that society says? Oh, I hate Mondays. Oh, Monday. Shut the fuck up. Some stupid shit. That's stupid as hell. How was that gonna serve you? How are you supposed to fulfill God's purpose? By saying shit like, oh, Mondays. You know what I mean? You guys get what I'm saying, though. You guys get what I'm saying. So the way you see things and the way you relate to the things, the way you're building the image, realize that you can just change the way you're building the image, right? So let's just say I might have, let's just say an example of my past. I'll have an anxiety about being around a specific person, right? So what I needed to do was I needed to change the way that I saw that person, right? Or maybe a specific person, when you think about him, whoever it is, some stranger, somebody that you don't even know, somebody that you think is stuck up, right? Whenever you think about him, you're like, oh, just think about somebody where you're like, right now, just somebody that when you think about like what the things that they say and do and the way they behave and their life and their, you know, their couples or their past, like when you go, right? Now change the way that you see them. Change the image of them. Begin to see that person as actually, you know, a human that makes mistakes, a human that sometimes goes in the wrong path, and then you begin to see that, hey, maybe I've just been perceiving them that way, or maybe yeah, they do things that are, you know, considered, you know, bad, right? Maybe they, you know, let's just say maybe they murder people like Kim Jong-un, right? But then begin to have love for that person, understanding that for that person that they're just humans. You're just humans. And the more compassion and understanding and love that you can give to other people, the more love that you can give yourself for your own mistakes, for your own shortcomings, for your own vices. The more that you can then accept somebody and accept, you know, all the dumb shit that they do and say, the more you can accept that those sides of you, the sides of you that are ignorant, the sides of you that don't know, the sides of you that refuse to take responsibility for certain things in their life, the part of you that refuses to accept mistakes that you've made, you know, this is part of our dark side, right? So if I have to leave you with something today, it would be build images in your mind. Build images in your mind. Yeah, that's basically it. And it makes me really happy. All right, everybody. Be the best, forget the rest. Odd Resilience. I got my website coming out soon. I already made it, but I'm gonna like add some stuff onto it to like where people can purchase my book off my website. They can sign up for coaching calls, or there's things like where I show you how to control energy. You know, there's a few classes on that, stuff like that. Yeah, if you guys want to work with me, definitely let me know. I'm very much happy to help. And so yeah, take care, and yeah, be the best, forget the rest, create images. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.